Welcome to another edition of Debatable here on GodIsAGeek.com. My name is Colm and thank you. As I said, hello, welcome, and most importantly, thank you for watching this here video of my show, Debatable. Maybe it was your destiny to click on it. You know, I give that joke a 7 out of 10. Police verso. In Roman times, gladiatorial bouts were commonplace and regularly resulted in a winner and a runner-up. I say runner-up because there was a teeny little chance that the fallen fighter would get another opportunity to fight again someday. This was all down to the crowd. Whilst history is a little skewed on exactly what the hand gesture was, popular culture has determined that thumbs up meant they lived and thumbs down meant they got. The general public's voice is a very powerful one when they speak in unison. They're quick to let everyone know if they're happy or unhappy with anything. Similar to what I spoke about a few weeks ago, when you have a valid argument, it's an important part, your opinion should most certainly be heard. Where would we be in this world if we all thought the exact same thing? In 123 Mundane Street, Boringstown, US snooze, that's where. Definitely considered one of 2014's most anticipated titles by the masses, Destiny was finally released on the 9th of September. This was Bungie's first foray on PlayStation since Oni and their initial adventure with Activision's backing. The world was hyped to fuck! The world was hyped to fuck, mainly because of them Activision dollars. As reported by Reuters, in May 2014, Activision Blizzard CEO and Brad Pitt's personal friend Bobby Kotick claimed that his company was taking a $500 million gamble on their brand new IP, Destiny. This figure apparently equated to both marketing and development. COO Pete Parsons played down the number in a June interview with GameIndustry.biz. For marketing, you'd have to ask Activision people, he said. But for development costs, not anything close to $500 million. I think that speaks a lot more to the long-term investment that we're making in the future of the product. Well, if Parsons is to be believed, it sounds like the majority of that $500 million was spent on ads. Magazine spreads, TV spots, sides of buses, basically pushing Destiny into the faces of potential buyers all the way up to 9/9/14. And it seems to have worked! Destiny sold through $325 million worth of product in its first 5 days of availability, according to a statement from CEO of Activision Publishing, Eric Hirshberg. So, all's well that ends. Wait a minute! On Metacritic it sits on a 77, on PS4 and a 79 on Xbox. What the fuck is this travesty? Kotaku ran an article during the week in which they did some digging into the muddy waters of 2012 case Activision vs West Zampella. The publishing house was forced to share some details of their Bungie deal in the case, in which it was stated that the developer would get a $2.5 million bonus if Destiny received a 90 or above on game rankings. And this isn't anything new at all. Publishers are constantly offering bonuses to developers if their games reach astronomical heights in aggregate sites. Similar how a striker at a football club would have a goal bonus in his contract. Obsidian were reportedly due to get a cool $1 million bonus if Fallout New Vegas got 85 or higher on Metacritic, and the game missed out by a measly few points on all platforms. In that aforementioned Kotaku article, Destiny's aggregate score on both game rankings and Metacritic was referred to as mediocre. The reason for this is because every publication scoring system begins at 7 and ends at 10. No, it fucking doesn't! Rock Paper Shotgun doesn't have scores, Kotaku has a yes or no deal, IGN has a 100-point scale, Polygon utilised halves, Game Informer has a 40-point system, Giant Bomb 5 stars, Video Gamer, CVG, Eurogamer, us, whole numbers out of 10. Everyone has their own way of doing things. Yet the video game playing public's perception remains the same. 7 is the very beginning of the scale. And that isn't all on you, video game public, not by a long shot. Unquestionably, certain games have received large scores when in retrospect a more modest number would have sufficed. Readers were taught to believe that anything below 7 was the worst piece of shit since the fast food rockers burst onto the music scene. Not because that's what was being said, but because a 6 or lower was a rare occurrence. As time has progressed and the argument of ethics was brought into play in the not too distant past, it appears that hype, like what Activision created with Destiny, hasn't been listened to as much by reviewers, and then we see what's happened this year. Two of 2014's other marquee titles, Titanfall and Watch Dogs. What an iconic hat. On Metacritic, Titanfall has 86, whilst Watch Dogs ranges between 77 and 80. Very, very positive scores. Yet some of the public view those and Destiny as having received a mediocre response critically. So as the critics become more critical, the audience becomes more critical of the critics' critique. For example, a 7 on God is a Geek scale is good. Now, my boy A. Cook recently reviewed Disney Infinity 2.0, and this was the first comment on the review. I understand that when a game that you're excited about is coming out, you're chomping at the bit to play it and you wanted to get 9s and 10s to justify the large pre-order price tag. I'm excited for Far Cry 4, for example, and I'm really hoping that it'll be of a certain quality. But if it doesn't reach the heights of Far Cry 3, so be it. If it gets a 7, I play it. Why? Because 7 is a really good score. Just have a little bit of perspective the next time you give the thumbs down to a game that got 7.5 and decide to feed it to the lines. Wait a minute. Wolfenstein: The New Order only has a 79 on Metacritic. What in the actual f***ing... And now it's time for my favorite part of the show, where you get to voice your opinion on what I said last week. And what I said last week kind of turned out to be true. I got it pretty spot on. Microsoft did indeed buy Mojang, and they own Minecraft now, and you had some things to say, so thank you very much for commenting. So now it's time to turn on the 2120 vision inside my head. Hold on, it's turned. I can see Nobbly. Thank you very much, Nobbly, for commenting. Nobbly said, friend of the show, said, you kind of covered all the bases there, so I agree. Nobbly, you're a smart man, very clever individual. You'll go places. Our next comment comes from another friend of the show, Toad Production INC. And Mr. Toad said, it'd be great if Notch decided to sell. No one could blame him. This comment was obviously prior to the news, as Debatable was prior to the news. Anyway, I'd happily say goodbye to my Toads for $2 billion. And if Microsoft managed to ruin the game, it would mean that everyone could finally stop hearing about Minecraft. A victory for everyone. Mr. Toad, would you really get rid of your Toads for $2 billion? That's quite sad. They'd be without a parent then. I suppose Phil Spencer would be their parent then, effectively. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone for commenting on last week's show, and you were more than welcome. You were actually encouraged to comment on this week's show. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why a 7 is shit, or I suppose relative to the price of games, why you don't spend your money on anything lower than a 9 or a 9.5 or whatnot. Just tell me what you think, and you can do so in the comment section of this very here YouTube video, or in the article on godisgeek.com itself, or you can tweet me. Because everything I said on this show, and past shows, and future shows, well look, it's just my opinion, and my opinion alone. And as always, dear friends, it's debatable.